To get started, we first need to make a Tangzhong. To do this, we add 20 grams of strong white bread flour into a pan with 40 grams of whole milk and 40 grams of water. We give everything a whisk to combine, then cook over a low heat for a minute or two until we get a thick paste. You can see how the mix starts to thicken pretty much straight away, so it's best to stir it almost constantly so that it doesn't stick to the pan. Once cooked, we transfer the Tangzhong to a bowl and let it cool to room temperature. You want to make sure to get all of the Tangzhong out of the pan. A rubber spatula comes in handy here. To make the dough, we add 395 grams of strong white bread flour into the bowl of a stand mixer with 8 grams of sea salt, 20 grams of caster sugar, 6 grams of instant yeast and a teaspoon of milk powder. We give this a whisk, then add in the Tangzhong and a large egg. Next, we need to warm 60 grams of water and 100 grams of whole milk so that it reaches 38 degrees Celsius or 100 degrees Fahrenheit. You can do this in a pan or in a microwave. We add the warm milk and water into the flour, then mix on a medium speed until a smooth dough forms. This will take around 5 minutes. Next, with the mixer still running on a medium speed, we gradually add in 40 grams of room temperature unsalted butter. Once all the butter has been incorporated, we keep mixing the dough until it passes the window pane test. This is where you stretch some of the dough between your fingers. If it stretches thin enough to see through, it's ready. If it doesn't, you'll need to keep mixing. You can see here how the dough stretches nice and thin. This means that the gluten has been properly developed. Now that our dough is ready, we can transfer it to a lightly oiled bowl, then cover and leave to double in size at room temperature. This will take between 45 minutes and an hour and a half. In the meantime, we can grease and line a 9 by 13 inch baking tin. Now that our dough has risen, we can knock it back, then transfer it to a work surface. The dough shouldn't be too sticky, so you probably won't need any extra flour. Next, we need to divide the dough into 12 equal pieces, each weighing around 60 grams. This doesn't need to be too exact, as long as each piece is roughly the same weight. To shape, we take a piece of dough and bring the edges into the middle. Next, we flip the dough over and use cupped hands to shape into a tight ball. We place the dough seam side down into the lined tin, then repeat the process with the remaining dough. The balls of dough need to be placed into the tin in 4 rows of 3. Make sure to leave a couple of centimetres space between each ball of dough. This gives them plenty of room to rise. Next, we cover the tin, then let the dough rise at room temperature until it has doubled in size again. This will take around 1 hour. Whilst the dough is proving, we make an egg wash by whisking an egg with a teaspoon of cold water and a pinch of salt. We also need to preheat an oven to 180 degrees Celsius or 356 degrees Fahrenheit. Once the dough is ready, we brush each roll with a good amount of egg wash, and we bake them for 20 to 25 minutes until they're well risen and a deep golden brown all over. As soon as the rolls are ready, we brush 20 grams of melted butter all over the top. To finish, we sprinkle a generous amount of sea salt over the rolls, then let them cool slightly before serving. And that's how to make a batch of Tangzhong dinner rolls. You can serve these rolls with extra butter, with soup, or use them for sliders. They're good with pretty much anything.